Well, let's just watch it. Let's he has a ton of bad takes here.
All right.
Real quick, he has a ton of bad takes. I do like that this video is like, he does an intro, he does ratings. Anyway, we'll just get onto it. I just lost my train of thought. He whatever. Let's just fucking go. I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh wait. He talks about Tekken. Or he talks about all the games and why Melee's better in that. We'll watch.
The first game
we'll talk about it.
Ultimate. Ultimate is not dead. It is dead in Europe. You barely can't find a match. I did a speedrun before. Trying to find a match took 10 minutes. And it's definitely not doing great. During quarantine, you know, the game has had a ton of people dislike the game more and more. And honestly, the novelty of having 76 characters is, you know, fading by the second. And
the novelty of that, like, Tekken's getting out of hand. I know that a lot of people, I don't know how you feel about it, but a lot of people I know who play Tekken they're like, dude, we're done. I don't need any more characters. And maybe it doesn't. I don't mind because I'm not competing, but yeah, it's a little much.
And the fact that you can't play those 76 characters against friends without hating your life, yeah, it sucks. But there's, I guess, still some hope that the online will be fixed.
No, it won't. It's on the Switch, dude. It ain't going nowhere. The last DLC, you didn't like the last bunch. Who was the last, like, who was all in it? I mean, obviously I know the DLC, but like, what was the badge? Who was involved with each of these? I guess I can just look at the page. You didn't like Season 2. Who is in it? Why doesn't it just show me the whole? Oh, Ganryu. I like Zafina, but I know people don't. I get that. Was Julia part of that? Because obviously I like Julia. You use... Wait, did Julia and Armor King come out in the same season? Was it Lei, Nina, Marduk, Armor King, and Julia? No, because there had to be a guest character in that, right? Yeah, Leroy and Falkenram are like truth, like for sure, just not fun to fight. Like I do not like. As soon as they're on the screen, I think everyone's kind of the same way. You just groan. It's just not cool. It's not fun. But that doesn't mean the game is bad. They fucked up with these last two guys, for sure. And like, you know, there's definitely an argument to be made for like Geese and Akuma. Akuma obviously wasn't DLC, but like, I don't really like Noctis. I don't really like Negan. Negan is weird as fuck, but like, I think they work well enough, and they're not completely fucked up. Yeah, it's not just a good game. It's a great game. It gets me salty a lot, and like, I'm not even very good at it, really. But I really like that game. I think it's one of the best fighting games in a long time. But let's listen to what this fucker's got to say.
Any game with a ranking system as bad as GSP, a online netcode as bad as Ultimate, or a buffer system as bad as Ultimate.
I can't really speak on this. I don't like the game in the first place.
Updates in recent memory being Byleth and Miniman, both characters that didn't really interest me.
That's personal bias.
This an awful. Guilty Gear Xrd.
Another really good game.
Kind of.
Here's the biggest problem with this fucker's tier list. I keep saying this fucker. I'm sorry, but I don't really have a problem with Leffen. I have a problem with his opinions. His takes are always really bad. He has this dead or not relevant tier list. Or tier. And it's like, he's not looking at games, like he's not even giving that a shot. Like, he's not even considering if the game is good. But just because, now what I'm about to say is kind of squandered by the whole fighting games are at their best when you have another person to play with. But, well, he'll tell you he doesn't play this game. But, and then, like, when he tries to make a point about Melee, he doesn't look back and understand that these games have the things that he mentions. But this game is not bad. It's not bad. It doesn't suck just because there isn't thousands and thousands of people playing it. For fighting games to get thousands and thousands of people playing them, they have to either have just come out or be one of the like top tier Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, maybe Tekken, like Melee or not Melee, but Smash Brothers. Those are that's never gonna happen for other games. As popular as Unis is ever gonna get, it's not gonna have 1,000 concurrent players unless there's a deal going on or something. That doesn't mean they're dead, especially when there's big in Michigan. Unis is fucking huge in the Midwest. It's really big. I considered getting into it, but I kind of couldn't. I don't really like a lot of the characters. I don't think it's a bad game. I just don't really like it.
It's on the border of dead. I do not think the Guilty Gear Rev 2 is a bad game, but it is a dead game for most.
It's fucking hard.
Scenes. Some scenes have
it's really hard.
Active netplay communities. In fact, Sweden actually has a Discord community for this. But for the average person, you're not really.
This whole thing really is a tough thing to get into because we're living in a day and age right now where there's no local. You can't even play local, which obviously means online's really important, but like when it's over, these scenes are gonna be a thing. I don't know.
You're gonna be able to get into Guilty Gear, hit search on rank to find a match, and the ranked system sucks. The online's obviously delayed.
He's so focused on ranked systems. Like it's all about rank.
One frame,
but like
on two.
I barely even play ranked. Who fucking gives a shit about ranked?
Okay,
really?
But one of the reasons why I think it sucks, and that's what we're calling out here, is I absolutely hate super specific double wake up, 2 different wake up timings, character weight, yellow Roman cancel being over.
I don't really like I don't like how Arc System games have like inertia when you run and stuff. I don't like that either. I don't like running up and then trying to neutral jump and then your character kind of tilts a little bit forward. I don't like that. For some characters that's probably pretty cool, but for the most part I'm not a fan of that. I don't really like that, so I can agree with him on the weight thing.
Danger time. These mechanics all suck. What does it do great? The music, 10 out of 10 music. I listen to Guilty Gear music all the time. The visuals are amazing. Also, they have aged slightly. And just the general style.
No, they have not. That game still looks so good. It looks fucking awesome. It worked so well.
Designs are like,
I mean, next to DBZ fighters and shit, though.
I don't really like, but there's something for most people that are into anime at least. But I'm looking forward to Strive, even though Strive also looks.
All right, let's just focus on. I don't know how the fuck he figures that. I at the beginning I was like, no, I don't like these mechanics in Strive. I'm not a big fan of how it was panning out. But hold on, there's a couple I want to go to first. I'll try to summarize what I remember him saying. He talked about Marvel vs. Capcom. He said MVC is just trash. He said Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is like one of the best games ever. Talks about Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. I don't think that's a very good game. I think the other Blaze Blues are better. He could just completely shit on it. Street Fighter 5 is trash, but I think he puts it at where does he put it? He puts it at awful tier next to Ultimate. King of Fighters he completely writes off. Forget about it. It's ugly. It is ugly, but it's also a really good game. King of Fighters 14 is very good. You could argue whether or not it's better than 13. A lot of people don't think so. I think it's hard to say for me because that game is fucking absurdly tough to get into. Oh, thank you for the bits. Free Google bits? Holy shit. Is that real? Google bits? Thank you, Google. So anyway, yeah, obviously the game is really ugly, but it also has one of the best, in my opinion, the best roster in any KOF. Like, I really love every character I want is in KOF 14. So that game gets a win for me. KI, he doesn't talk about. I don't even really like KI. He just writes off Injustice 2. Not a lot of people like Injustice 2. Don't really care. I don't really like the game. He called Soul Calibur. Hold on, you'll enjoy
Soul Calibur
this.
6. Honestly, I played like
Mexican Thieving Weasel.
10 hours of this on release. I don't know why I didn't like. I don't know if it's like flawed, bad. I don't know where to put it. I would honestly kind of put it in never played, but Soul Calibur's scene is small enough to almost put it by not relevant. To me, I'm gonna put it at bad because I didn't enjoy playing it whatsoever. I don't know what it was. It just felt like Tekken.
Get ready for some bad takes.
Really bad feeling movement and uninteresting character designs.
Dude, the movement in that game is way wider and better than Tekken. But what's gonna feel bad about it is moves. You have a horizontal button. that will take out your movement. So maybe the movement's going to feel bad in that case. But that's really not giving the... I don't even really like that game. But that's really not giving that game a shot. That's writing it off completely. That doesn't mean it's bad. He doesn't know why this game... This game is fucking flawed, for sure. And there's reasons to think it's not good. He's not giving any of them. None of these are valid.
Very subjective. I know that. The only character designs I really remember is like Geralt from the Witcher series and 2B from Nier, obviously. So I guess that's a plus. They got some cool crossovers.
Soul Calibur better than Street Fighter 5. Yeah. Yep. I'd say that for sure. Even though like obviously like I am way better at Street Fighter 5 because I know how to play 2D fighting games. I'm way better at Street Fighter 5. I still think Soul Calibur is a better game for sure. Like as a fighting game, I would say yes, that it is. It's never going to be as big as Street Fighter 5, but I would say that's a better fighting game, yeah.
And Ivy because porn. Yeah, outside of that, I think it's kind of forgettable series, honestly. It's just...
Now, that is something I actually have a problem with. A forgettable series? That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Hell no. In a world where there's a Soul Calibur 2, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That is so dumb. That's such a dumb take. Woof. Anyway.
To me, it feels like a 3D game that like
this
doesn't
game,
do anything awful.
The series is dead now because of this game.
And to me,
but
that is a bad sign of a bad game.
It's still
also,
a good game.
Online sucks, like every other fucking
yes,
game.
it does.
And if you're not doing anything amazing and your online is bad, you're in bad tier. Mortal Kombat 11. This is probably one of the few games that is actually a pretty good game by most objective standards.
Disagree.
It has great netcode. It
does
has
have great
story
netcode.
mode that I enjoyed.
But like, he's not talking about the game play, which is where my issues are mostly with these. And like, yeah, factors like this, like the online and stuff, definitely matter.
Many
but
characters. It has frequent patch updates. I
it
think it even has frame data in the game, and yet I can't see myself ever playing it. Why is that? Well, honestly, most of it is subjective, and some of it is word of mouth. Most Mortal Kombat players I've talked to...
Basically, he says the animations suck. That's why he doesn't like it. But what I'll say about it is that I don't like that, like, the whole system. I don't really know now. I don't really give a shit to play it. But he, like... It got the Street Fighter 5 treatment. Everything got neutered. And they made it a game, of course, yeah, without a doubt. But is that really a reason to think the game is bad? It's something to sit and point at and laugh. But that doesn't make it a bad game. People love MK9. That game is butt fucking ugly. MKX doesn't have great animations either. I think MKX is a way better game than MK11, for sure. In MK11, even though they're still bad, they still listen to people and improve them a ton. Like, they look way better. Look at fucking, who pointed out, like, in Injustice 2, like, Batman's, like, roll kick is so stupid looking. But anyway, they neutered, like, the system, and I know they just wanted... I have a problem with, it's a game that is flashy. It's always been a spectacle fighter. So they make these X-ray attacks and they want you to fucking use them. They looked at MKX and were like, okay, no one uses X-rays because it's a huge waste of meter. How do we make them do that? We spend all this time on them. People want to see that. Forget that they completely take the momentum out of the entire fucking match, but we need them to be useful. And I do think that, what do they call those attacks? Like this mini X-rays or whatever. You get a crit or something, or not a crit, but you get a counter hit, and then it like crushing blows. Crushing blows are a way to implement that, which they did. I don't think they're very good. People don't like crushing blows because they're fucking crazy. But everyone gets, like, the meter doesn't work. You get meter gains over time. I think that's trash. Anyway,
yeah, it's so much better.
There's a lot of things. I could go into that. That's a separate thing. Let's focus on it.
Dead, not relevant.
Not relevant. Tekken Tag. But he hasn't played it.
I don't think
he doesn't know Tekken
Fighting
Tag.
Herds and Skullgirls. Rivals, best fighting platform fighter? No,
I would think
not even close.
I think it is. But then again, I don't play Smash games. I don't really like Smash games, but it took out all the things that I don't like in Smash games. I don't really like I don't like throws, and I'm sure that makes me sound like a huge scrub, but I like parry. I think it's really fucking cool. And I'm not like the whole recovery thing I was never very good at, and I know that in rivals it makes your without like ledge and shit like that, it makes your recovery way more predictable. But I still think I've had way more fun in Rivals of Aether than I have with Smash, for sure.
Pla- Rivals of Aether has a
Well, he said in the intro he talks about how he plays a lot of fighting games. He plays them all the time, and I mean I'm sure there's truth to him some of the shit he said because he's talking about how I think he mentioned KOF 13 and he said he like got he got to the top of his pools at Evo in that. That doesn't mean he's good at them. He could probably beat me in like Street Fighter 4, but I don't know, shit, man. I'd probably put up a fight with him. Quite like really. Uh, anyway, so I mean, I'm sure he plays them to some degree, but his focus is purely on competition to a point where he does not have any fun. Like he doesn't enjoy games. Like that's why I think he shouldn't be making this list. He shouldn't be making this list. He doesn't really have business making it because he's only looking at it from a perspective of like, can this be viable for me to make a living? Can I go to Evo and make a lot of money with this game? That is where he's coming from this entire time. But let's see what he has to say about that.
has some cool stuff. I like some of the character
Have you
designs.
heard all this shit about
To me, I think the visual art style
Tekken?
of
Like when he
any,
was trying to
pixel art is
learn it?
fine for indie games where like the story is the focus of the
Anyway,
Sorry.
that's just a bad take about pixel art. Them's Fighting Herds.
Them's Fighting Hurts.
Them's Fighting Herds is really good. I like that game a lot.
Dead.
It's dead though. It's dead. It's irrelevant. Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It's not like it's like probably at the peak of where it would ever be. And it was just because it got put into Evo and people are actually putting eyes on it who wouldn't otherwise. That's awesome. Doesn't have a lot of players. It's fucking dead, dude. It's irrelevant. Who gives a shit? Fuck it. Get it out of here. Nope, we're not talking about it. Move on. And like you see people in his chat saying this shit. What is this game? Pokken? Yeah, dead. Dragon Ball Fighter Z? Don't care. Wait, not really what? I'm just gonna replace Melee what? At Evo? Yeah, Melee's out. But like I mean, to be fair to Melee and shit, and honestly now that Mr. Wizard's gone, Smash has way more of a chance to be like in the eye of like fighting game stuff. Like Evo. It has way more of a shot at Evo. Like Mr. Wizard had a huge bias against Smash Brothers games and Melee, or not Melee, excuse me, anime. So like there's a reason why there is the fuck do they call it? Anime Evo or whatever. It's because Mr. Wizard's a bitch about it, and now he's fucking gone. But so like that's hard to say. I think Melee's time is I think it's almost on its way out. It did get this big thing. He also talks up. He has one of the worst takes here. Hold on.
That is unfortunately dragged down by circumstance. It released.
What does he say? Where's this part
And
where he says this
so
really
on
fucking
PS4,
terrible
but
take?
Rambo is not a game with a lot of depth. It is a very,
Wait
very
for it.
solid
Wait for
game. It feels good to play. It has better whiff punishing than basically any other traditional
Shit.
fighting game out there. And it's easy to pick up. It's easy to have fun with. It looks amazing. It has
Fucking
good
terrible
soundtrack,
game. I hate this game.
But it is not a game that is fun to sit and lab with. You
It's really not,
necessarily
because there's,
can't
like,
play
nothing.
super long
There's
set
nothing
while having
there.
fun because there aren't
Grand
too
Blue
many
Fantasy
different
versus.
interactions. Kind of like Street Fighter 5. So what does Street Fighter 5 have better than Grand Blue? Street
Hold on. Where does he
Fighter
say?
5 has
Maybe I
a
went
ranking
past it.
system that works.
Like he's so obsessed with ranking. Like, I mean, I guess the logic is that right now it's all online, right? So that matters. But he's just so like it's all about rank. Like it has to be ranked. It can't. It's not just like the game in and of itself. It's climbing the
Grand Blue's ranking
ladder.
system is so
Where does he say
EQ
this shit?
against people their own on PC, and every traditional fighting
Okay, here we
has
go.
many flaws, most of which today's people don't really
Listen to
realize
this. Oh wait.
because they have double it and then double it again. Imagine that this game is Granblue. Granblue is flawed. Granblue is a better Street Fighter game than any Street Fighter's ever been.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever fucking heard. That is so dumb. But I get what he's trying to say. He's saying that like Street Fighter is a like, you know, it's got a much slower pace than a lot of games, typically, and like there's not necessarily big buttons or anything, but like, you know, footsies and like whiff punishing matter. That's what he's trying to say. In what fucking world? Like, what are you talking about? And then he says something about
For its time. That does not mean that it's better than
Dude,
Third Strike.
too.
Third Strike, it's not really like a traditional Street Fighter game.
But what is Street Fighter 2? I guess. But like even Street Fighter 4, you could argue, like Flo said it, footsies were not honest because of focus attack. All of these are different. They're all different.
Street Fighter X Tekken was obviously very flawed. Street Fighter 4
Street Fighter
has
X
many,
Tekken is
many
great,
flaws,
but
most of
super
which
flawed. Street Fighter 4,
today's people don't really realize because they have nostalgia for it.
I can tell you every reason why Street Fighter 4 is a flawed mess. It is. But no fucking fighting game that exists today is flawless. That's not the case. You're not going to find a fighting game that doesn't have flaws. Every single one has a flaw or something that you're not going to like about it. There's no perfect fighting game. There might be perfect games, and I don't really even believe that, but no. No. Nope. All of them are flawed. Even Precious fucking Melee, one of the most busted fighting games, one of the most busted video games ever, is severely flawed. But people like that. I like that stuff. That's basically what you realize at the end. I fuck around by saying like Melee's not a fighting game or Smash isn't a fighting game. I just think it's hilarious to tell people that because people get very upset. I think that's really, really funny. I don't know, it's fucking around. But you realize at the end that yeah, he's basically stacking everything up against Melee.
Granblue is a very, very solid game.
But what he does up to this
Unfortunately
point,
dragged down by circumstance. It released during Corona.
Granblue is a solid game and nothing more. Like nothing else. There's nothing interesting about it. Like, it has links, a very few amount of links, but there's no real reason to use them in a pinch. What's going on? Mortal Kombat Armageddon. We'll talk about that later. I have some words for that. But like, oh, you threw me off so bad. You're just gonna do your dial-in. It's not even a dial-in ABC combo. You just mash one button, and you get a string. You get like an ABC chain, and then you go into your EX move, and then you mash into it again if it gets a wall bounce, and then you go into super. That's it. There's more to it than that, in like terms of whiff punishing and things like that. But you can cancel that with an overhead sometimes if you want to. It is the most bare bones and boring game. I don't like when that game's cool. I mean, it's really rough. It's not. I don't think that game is good. And maybe I'm a little more biased here because I was really, really, really looking forward to Granblue because it looked really cool and I was excited. And I heard block button. I was like, what? Block button? It's got rolls, it's got block button, it's got a spot dodge. The fuck is it? It has wave dash. It has like Melee style wave dash. What? Huh. Okay, whatever. I still pre-ordered it. I'm still gonna get it. And I wanted to like it, and I was liking it for a little bit, and then I was like, then I just realized how fucking stupid the combos are. It's just not. It's not fun. It's not fun to watch. It's barely fun to play, and it's when it's fun to play, it's like. It's rarely fun to play. Game's fucking dead.
And every traditional
I don't think it's irrelevant.
Doesn't have good netcode.
I'll also not tell people not to play games like this. I might shit on your game and tell you it's a bad game, but I'm not gonna ever be like, you should stop playing it. You should stop playing it. Let it fucking die. Fuck your game. I'm not gonna say that to you. I might not like it. Play your game as much as you want. Trust me, dude. I like KOF 14. People really don't like that game. Old time fans. I think it's
Heavily
great.
relies on offline tournaments to keep the scene together. Two, it was overpriced for what most people thought it was worth.
That's
I
true.
personally thought it was okay, but many people would like more characters for the price.
Real quick, I'll get to what you're saying, Ozma, later. But right now, what I'll say about it is those games, the fighting game community owes those Mortal Kombat games a lot because they kept fighting games alive in that era where fighting games were fucking dead. They were dead. Anyway,
And here's the
I'll
thing.
expand on that later.
Japan is just so ignorant when it comes to marketing. Like, they released the game on PC, but PC didn't have free
Yeah,
codes.
blah blah blah. Yes, takes about it.
It's the worst
Skullgirls is a good game. He doesn't like it because he doesn't like the art style, and that's fine. I like the art. I like the animation and like the effort and how cool Third Strike looks. Like how well it flows and looks. I hate the character's design. I don't like most of the cast. I do not like. I think they're butt ass ugly. Ryu's nose. Oro's meant to not look like he looks like a fucking raisin. That's whatever. Like it's animated like beautifully. It's an amazingly animated game, but the art style is butt ugly, and I hate that about it. But I still play it. Sam Show, he doesn't like Sam Show. He thinks it's bad. DOA Fantasy Strike. I think DOA is trash. Melty Blood. I bet he's never even put eyes on Melty Blood. Fantasy Strike, I think, is fucking garbage. Fantasy Strike, I feel like, is garbage for very specific reasons, but I almost have like Leffen levels of opinions on that game, and that's not a game where I have problems with that, like as a fighting game, outside of its mechanics, like kind of what it stands for in a way, which is really I understand that that's a fucked up thing to do, but and I said I don't do that, but and I don't tell people not to play a game. I just think it's trash. He says Marvel's Capcom 2 is dead. Sure, but it's also like one of the most like idolized fighting games of all time. He talks about Brawlhalla, and there's no denying that Brawlhalla is huge. The reasons he says it's huge are wrong. He says that like
Is dead. Brawlhalla is
this one's
flawed.
really short, I guess.
Flawed here.
I have nothing to say about.
It cost at $5. But
He says it's free, and that's fine, but that's not one of the reasons why it's popular. One of the reasons why it's popular is because people know Smash Brothers. And, obviously it appeals to kids more, but you get on there. You get on your PS4, or you're on your computer, and you're like, what's a game that's like Smash Brothers? Oh, here's this game, but it costs money. Let's play Brawlhalla. And then you get with your friends, and they're playing it, and then it gets competitive. It does have good online. It feels really good. I've played it a little bit. It's not my thing. I don't really like it, but, I can see why that is. And it's cross-play with everything. It's free. It's on, there's many reasons why, but it has less to do with what he says. Undernight isn't dead. I do think that, like a lot of these, that the situation the world is in does contribute to, because this game was alive and very well in local, like, with communities, for sure. Another problem with him looking at this whole thing is that he is only looking at Steam numbers. Not a lot of these games have their community on Steam. This game is crossplay with PS3. I mean, not this one specifically, but the older ones were, and I guess they're not now. But okay, Tekken 7.
Someone really.
All right, yeah. Let's take this one from the top. Jab. This is why you're here.
Why
Not really why you're here.
Tekken 7. Tekken 7 has many points that are even close to great. It has actually a pretty good online ranking system. Not great for the absolute top tiers, but it's many different ranks.
That's hard
if
to
you
say.
play someone
Again,
when you're
he's
bad
focused
and
on
you play
rank.
someone really good, then
Like crazy.
it doesn't count for as much, but you can keep rematching them. Here's the thing, though. This game is not great.
Yes, it is.
And if you
Yes, it
actually
is.
look at the game as a whole, you know that this is not great.
Yes, it
Tekken
is.
7
It
is
really
just
is.
the best game we have, but that does not, I repeat, not make it great.
Yes, it
why
does.
is that? Well, it has no fucking-
that isn't why. Because it's the best we have. That's not what makes it great. Tekken is a great game. It really is. It really is. Even, like for spectators, for players, it's a phenomenal game. It's really, really good.
Tutorial, it got replaced like
It has
5,
issues like
6
anything else.
years into the game's life,
Maybe you're onto something there, Jab. But
which is
let's just listen.
absolutely essential to learning Tekken.
Wait. What do you say?
Fucking tutorial, it got replaced like 5, 6 years into
Yeah, that's
the game's
stupid.
lifespan, which is absolutely
Another thing to get about this, if you're gonna like go into this kind of thing, initially like Tekken 7 was given a very small budget. Like, well, not maybe not very small, but it was definitely not given the money that even like Tag 2 got, and Tag 2 was it sold like dog shit. It sold poorly. So, going into the next game, they didn't have much faith in it, and they didn't put much money behind it, and it managed to get huge despite all that because it's a good fucking game. There's a reason for that. And like, yeah, it definitely could have used a tutorial without a doubt. This is a really hard game to learn. Really, really, really hard game to learn. And not only that, it's very discouraging. Really, really discouraging. But a tutorial isn't going to make it not discouraging. A complex game where people have been like a legacy game like this, that's just that's what's going to happen. That's the way it is.
essential to learning Tekken, by the way, because of how many moves there are. Every single new DLC character breaks everything.
But remember this
balancing-
point. Actually, this is not a good point. But the thing he just said, just hold on to that. And he's saying that every DLC character breaks the game. That is fucking stupid. So far, 2 have, and yeah, they're a big problem for sure. Every single DLC character. Tell it to fucking Armor King and Marduk fans.
Team is completely incompetent. They added a change that made Hell Sweep non-sidesteppable, and then they had to revert it.
Say
because
it to
everyone
lay
was crying
fans.
over it. You have to pay for frame data. If you match,
You don't have to pay for frame data. And me saying this, just hold on to that. Put a pin in that.
up with someone and you press rematch, you go through a 20-second loading screen.
Probably has something to do with the large 3D environment, and oftentimes people's stupid fucking like create a character gimmick shit. But obviously that is still a mark against it. Yeah, loading times are absurd.
Ultimate levels
At
of
first,
bad
they're really, really
bad
bad.
shit garbage online. There's also a lot of different things.
The lobbies
such
are
as
bad.
movement
The lobbies are
being
really bad.
nerfed, way too many.
But he has no reference to speak about movement being nerfed, because what he's talking about, but he doesn't even know it because he probably didn't play other Tekken games. It got nerfed from other games. It's the worst in this one. Am I right about that, Jab? Like it's not the worst, but it's not as powerful as it used to be. Maybe things track a lot. Is that it? I'm pretty sure it's just like movement, generally stepping and things like that. It's not what it used to be, and I'm pretty sure that's what he's talking about. But as a guy who is never like, you can look at Tekken 5 and be like, oh, Brian just sidestepped fucking all the way to his shoulder, shit like that. Maybe not Brian, but you know what I'm trying to say. But if that's what he's talking about, then that's not a point of his. It shouldn't be. He doesn't know what he means.
Many moves. A lot of these things, story mode being shit.
Story mode is shit.
But Tekken is not a great game.
Yes, it is.
And you know it. Tekken has a great core, but it is absolutely flawed, and every single honest person will tell you that. So yeah, I'm putting Tekken.
No, Tekken's good, and it's better than MK11, for sure, for sure.
Flawed. I enjoyed playing Tekken more than Mortal Kombat 11, but I think Mortal Kombat 11 is the better value because you don't have to pay for frame data. So I'm gonna put Mortal Kombat 11 up.
But you don't.
above it.
Anyway,
I guess
keep the pin thing. Just remind me of the pin
one
thing.
game left.
You want to hear this?
Dead slash not relevant. I actually
What? Just remember what he said about paying for frame data, and frame data not being in the game. In terms of like, I guess if you want to do, for someone who's competitive to be like story mode, and to bring that to like talk about ranked and be like the story mode, but it's part of the game, so I guess that's fair. But like that stuff, like other than just playing online and stuff, yeah, like there's way more to do in MK. There is. Not all of it's good, but there's more to do. truth be told, like Tekken has treasure battle or whatever. That's stupid, dude. Treasure battle sucks balls. It's not cool. Customization I like a lot, but it's not what it was. Like, it's not Tekken 6 customization even. Customization. But, like, still, whatever. If that's why you're playing, I feel like if you're playing Tekken 6 or Tekken 7 for the customization options, you may be playing for the wrong reasons. But hey, who am I to tell, who am I to say why you should be playing a game?
I don't know how many people like play Melee every day. Here's the thing. You all know that Melee is a great game.
No, everyone knows that you're going to put it at the top.
But here's the thing. If we look at Melee for what it is, it should be here. It should be dead and not relevant. But the community has made it go from not relevant. It was never bad, but pushed it to way above flawed.
I would never say that Melee's bad.
Melee used to be.
I don't like
Melee. It didn't
Melee.
have online. It
He'll
was a
troll in a
great
second,
game, but
no,
hard to
he's
get
not
into.
trolling.
Not that many learning resources. But here is the fucking thing. There's no game on this list that is, one, alive so that you can play other people.
That doesn't make any sense at all. He's wrong. Like, full stop right there.
And two, has a good tutorial.
That's also wrong. He's never, like, Unit Clear or whatever, that game does have, like, it does have, like, a tutorial that'll, like, explain something to you real quick. Like, alright, now make this happen. There's many games that do that. Like, Guilty Gear has that. Whether or not it's, like, you know, the best way to go about it, or, like, you'll actually learn something from it, it's fucking there. Didn't Tekken Tag 2 have, like, a really bad thing about it? Street Fighter 5 has the worst tutorial. It's fucking trash. It's really bad. And you get points for doing it. It's literally what he's about to say. It's literally just, like, text. And then it shows you a demo of how that works. Then you hit the X button and it skips past it. It's really fucking bad. Like, that game didn't have a big budget at the beginning either, but still, they could have done better in that department. They could still do it, but they're
really sad when you think about it. But after Melee has gotten fan packs, you can play Uncle Punch.
This is what I'm talking about.
If you haven't seen Uncle Punch,
this is the
Melee.
pin point.
Uncle Punch has.
He's talking about frame data and tutorials and these things being in these games for you to learn. Melee has mechanics and things that you're not even going to know exist unless you are told about them. If you're not a fighting game player or something. Like, that, your average person isn't going to know what the fuck wave dash is. Like, but yeah, Tekken's got a lot of crazy shit, but you can at least, like, Street Fighter 5 look at, like, what the fuck was that big? I exploded. Why did I explode when Ryu kicked me? It's because that's a crush counter. And, like, you can see that and be like, what the fuck just happened? What is that? Yeah, that's the thing. And not only that, but it's years and years and years later.
A training mode pack where you have all these settings.
This is cool, but this isn't something that's in the game, and this isn't even something he should consider, because he's not looking at like this sort of thing for any other game, because he's just, I wouldn't say that, but he's got bad takes. He's not looking like Tekken, I don't know if it was day one, but it has a fucking program you can download that literally will say out loud your frame advantage or disadvantage on any given move. It will say it to you. You can put it on the screen as well, and it will say it to you. Whether you buy it or not. You can download that, and you can use that. That's a resource. That's there. This is something that's so, like, you have to go get. Like, both of these things are, but, like, he's trying to bolster this point. But the frame data thing and, like, these resources that you can do, you also have to go get, like, for both of these things. And he's talking about, like, anyway, like, do you know what? I think I'm making the point.
Things that can help you practice.
Obviously, he's biased. He's completely biased.
It has tutorials within it. It has.
Somebody asked him
specific events.
The point
L cancel
I'm
training,
talking
ledge
about
dash training, SDI training, combo training. all this fan made. It has 20xx with even more, giving you far more features than even the most complicated training modes. Why does community stuff count? Because when you play Melee today, it counts.
But he's ignoring it in
We could
Tekken.
add all the community counted stuff, right? And none of these games would change.
That's not true. I mean, I already made
Because
that
there's
point.
no
But
significant community
Tekken.
added things.
I think he mentions
Street Fighter 5
Tekken
would have
1.
moved up to bad if the patch was allowed.
Tekken Chicken app? Yeah, dude. I have it. You can download it right on your phone. I have it. I have it. I don't even use it that often.
Maybe even
But
flawed.
it's there.
But they disabled the patch, so it's awful.
It's free.
Melty Blood, still dead. Third Strike,
Melty Blood had a major fan patch, much like Melee did, with like a online thing. It's dead for sure, but there's still people playing it. And dead to Leffen means it's not like you're not seeing it on any screen at a big tournament. That's what that means. That's what dead means. That's not true. And I think like one of the bigger problems with this is that he's taking away from those communities by putting games like this on a list where it's like trash. Even like I would do that and call games trash, but also I wouldn't put them on dead and not relevant list. I would make a big old fat this is my opinion on this game. Not there shouldn't be a community here and it's dying and fuck it. Not that he's necessarily
still
saying
doesn't have 500 people
he's still saying this.
playing it. If the game
500
has
people
only
concurrent
as much
playing.
community support to not have it moved out of that area, Third Strike is a better game than Melee. Yeah, but it's
I would
fucking
say
dead.
so.
So even if you wanted to make
But
that,
it's not fucking dead. Yeah, and Mark of the Wolves also got like a huge, like a fucking like breakthrough patch with the GGPO stuff. That's a big fucking deal. People were putting eyes back on that game. And if I'm not mistaken, Melee had to get this little thing called Revival of Melee, I think it was called, and that would actually put people like, one last tournament. That revived Melee completely. It could be like this happens for one community. Not to mention like the influence. This isn't taking away from this game, by the way, but like, and this is really big stuff that could have a big impact on any community, but like that, first of all, the power of that documentary for Melee was unreal. Like any game to get that would fucking explode. But the thing about about Smash Brothers particularly is everyone has played that because it was a party game. Like it was something that was in every home. It's one of the biggest sellers on GameCube. Every single person I knew ever had played it. That's my age, without a doubt.
Doesn't matter. Oh yeah, so many players. You and me both know Third Strike is dead. Here's the thing.
Third Strike isn't dead. Like, no, it's not. Like, no, it fucking isn't. But then his point of reference is that he goes to Twitch and he's like, no one's watching this game. There wouldn't be nearly as many people watching Melee if it wasn't for this brand new patch. And Melee's not dead, obviously. But like, Third Strike isn't dead just because there's not. Dude, are you kidding me? Have you seen these fucking awesome ass tournaments? Like these Japanese tournaments where these players are, oh dude, that game at high level is very exciting to watch. It's so cool.
Melee is only alive and it's only great because it was a good
I think Third
game
Strike is
that
only
people kept
really
working
good
on.
at
And
high level
now
though, and I
Melee
don't even play
has
it that way.
better netcode and better training modes than most of these games, while also
I don't think Third Strike is the best Street Fighter game. I like Third Strike. I've really come around to it. I did not like it at first. I still don't think it's amazing, because unless you're doing like the top tier parry stuff, I think it's pretty like if it didn't have parry, it would be not fun to watch at all. But parry really is such a major game changer, and can be very very satisfying to pull off. That like I've really come around to it. It is like, hey dude, I can make your entire game plan irrelevant by just doing parries. But you have to predict those parries. That's what really makes the difference. Anyway, let's see what he has.
good, still feeling good to play, and having, in my opinion, the most diverse and interesting top level meta game of all of these games.
But he doesn't play these games at top levels. He obviously he doesn't, because Third Strike, like I just said, parries make it so much more. Like it blows up once everyone's pairing. It is absurd. That's why like Alex player at the bottom of his team takes out the entire fucking Alex, like a low tier character, takes out the whole, or some Remy player fucking
Is
destroys
there a lot
everything.
of
It's
bad
because of that
characters?
stuff.
Yeah,
It
about
flips
half
it.
the cast is viable, but
Half the cast? It's less than that.
yesterday someone
He's talking about Melee.
someone in a $25,000 tournament beat a Marth with a DK 3-0,
Remy, I just said that.
and a Roy player just won
Remy, I just
a
said that.
tournament this year. So
5 at most. I
yeah,
I
maybe
can't
you
even.
guys should.
I know the ones I've seen, and like I don't really play that game, so it's let alone competitively. I also don't fucking care about Melee at all. But yeah, like I don't know.
Worry about your own games before you try to trash out Melee for being
This is the irony is palpable here with this line.
unviable. The reality is that Melee is not only great,
But he's not saying
Melee
it's unviable.
is the fucking standard.
That's so untrue. And it goes against every single thing he said this entire time, because Melee is right now what it is because of the community building these things around it. Like, there's a really strong community that loves that game. I do wish to one thing that I'll credit about this, I do wish the games that I loved had the strength and community that this game does. I really think that I really hope. I wish that would be the case. But Melee by itself is not any of the things that he's just said. That's not true. Any of the things that he's taken away from other games.
This is where other
It's
games
not
need
the
to
standard.
go.
That's
We'll
ridiculous.
only ever go there if the community supports it.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
I really wish I could say that but sadly,
But on the other hand, Melee is also a community of players who like refuse to. If you play Ultimate, fucking idiot, trash. Like it's. I'm not gonna say it's a toxic community. I don't get involved with that community. I don't even play the games. But it's like they're like against any real change. Like really, well.
Tekken
They
7
did play
Fighters and more Combat will sadly not probably be fan
Project
modded
M, right?
and helped out. But I also think that Melee is just
Wait, what do you say?
Combat will sadly not probably could say that but sadly Tekken 7 and Dragon Ball Fighters and more Combat will sadly not probably be fan modded and helped out.
Oh, he mentions the Street Fighter V patch, like online patch, and then he said Capcom made it unusable. They didn't. That's not what they did. They updated their game. And then once they updated it, that patch was now like not compatible with the game because it was on a different version. Like they weren't like get rid of this shit, turn it off, don't let them do it. That's not what happened. They like patched their game like they would normally patch it. And the online patch that was a part of it was no longer compatible with that version of the game. That's the bottom line. They didn't maliciously go out of their way to get rid of it. That's not the case. And that's kind of fucked up for him to say. But I don't know, man. It's weird.
But I also think that Melee is just
Not that I
better
even
to
like that game.
compare to
Yeah, have you
itself
seen it?
because you can't necessarily expect many of these other games to have their own fan support.
But like, if he was talking about in terms of fan support, obviously this would be the case, you know. But like, this is a really stupid point. Like,
You can't
really, if he's making a list like this is a dumb
necessarily
point.
expect Tekken 7 to have the balance changes fixed through the community. But
But the game is still like alive. It's not 16 years old or whatever. So no, they can't do that. There might come a time where they could. I don't think anybody would do that. I think if they were going to do that, they'd do it with Tekken 5, but that's not going to happen.
Somehow, somewhere,
Because people play the games
something
after
happened,
those.
which made Melee have this diehard community behind it.
Because truth be told, these games are like made with that in mind. And that's a shame for Smash games that like they're not made with any sort of competitive aspect really in mind, like intended. And that's really where that has to come in, where the community shit has to come in. The Tekken and these other games are made for that. So
They
that's
not
why
only pushed the meta
you know.
to where it's better than ever, added modding and fan projects such as Slippy and Uncle Punch. What can I say? I can go online and find a match in literal seconds with custom music, with HD graphics, yeah, it looks a little bit worse than Ultimate. But when you're moving this fast, it doesn't matter.
You can't say a game is ugly and then talk about Melee being beautiful and then be like, you know what, maybe it doesn't look good, but it's moving quick, so ignore that. Dude, that's just, obviously he's biased. I mean, he's not trolling though. He's not fucking around. Like, he means what he's saying.
Now,
that's because it's his
if you
favorite
disagree,
game.
you can go on Fightcade and go into someone's Discord channel, and I'll see you back here in the stream chat in 5 seconds when.
But Fightcade doesn't have like matchmaking. It has ranked now. Fightcade 2 now has ranked, but no, it doesn't have like matchmaking. No, you have to make your own matches. But there's also not, you don't go on to Fightcade and there's one game to play on Fightcade and that gets the focus. That's not how it works. It's a ton of, the fact that Fightcade's even a thing and was a thing well before this shit was even playable online should say something. Should show you that there's a real, people love these games. There's a community behind it. It's for real.
When you realize,
all right, Jabs, take it easy. I'm probably just gonna keep mumbling. I might even upload this to YouTube.
For fighting games to be great, again, I really think they can be. I really think that many of these games.
It's my rant. I was thinking about this today, and it was really frustrating.
To move to great tier, to maybe even move to melee tier. But when you're asking me to pay for frame data, when you're adding a broken character that shows you don't even understand the game several times over, when you can't fucking fix the netcode, or
that has more to do with like Japan is so stubborn about how they handle netcode. There's like a fucking petition for Japanese companies to, like, between them or something like that. That was like that where they refuse to do rollback netcode just because, I don't know, stubbornness. I'm not sure. Which is fucking stupid. And no, I'll agree there without a doubt.
Consistently, and Granblue, when you can't release the game worldwide at the same time, when you wait like 3 months before the game comes out in Europe, what can I do but put your games in flawed or awful? Community frame data since day one for Tekken 7. Yeah, but the thing is that in-game frame data is very important for Tekken because of how many moves there are. In Smash, I mean, there's community frame data for Smash too.
You can totally play Tekken without really knowing the frame data. Like, you can find a couple, like, for real, you can get very far, and he did get very far into ranked without knowing frame data. What's more important is stepping and shit. He's focusing on the wrong thing. Like, like understanding strings and shit and where this move's going to be, that's what makes it really, really, really complex. But for the most part, you got a handful of punishes. Some of them will work almost every time, guaranteed. If somebody does something that's unsafe.
So there's only
you
one
could stick with like one
so
punish.
you can look through here and do this. If you
Julius
look
down
through
for
frame
3,
data
for
through Tekken,
example.
it does not work this easily.
Doesn't punish
Seeing
everything,
a move
but
in game
it's gonna be a
and
good
then
punish.
figuring out what the frame data is in Tekken is much harder. That is where there's
That's not
many
true.
custom
Then
programs,
this,
Tekken Prime Bot and such.
You can just look it up though. It doesn't need to be in the game because he's not doing that right now. He's looking at it on a fucking screen. He had to look this up. It's not in the game.
But all of them are flawed. And
why? That's just a bad take.
In many different ways.
In one, name them. Like, you have to say that shit. Like, it tells you exactly what move it is, and it tells you, it doesn't just tell you the frame data, it'll tell you it's crazy.
And I know because I fucking try to do this.
It'll tell you if it tracks, what way it tracks. There's all sorts of there's all sorts of resources.
Like heavily flawed.
That is not. Oh my god, that's the worst.
DBZ
the worst the whole thing.
flawed. You play one season. I played all 3 seasons.
I don't like that game, so
even if I only play one season, Lost Cake, I still want more tournaments than you ever fucking will in your entire life.
This is him trolling though.
In that game. So maybe you should sit the fuck down and listen. I literally played Dragon Ball Fighters yesterday.
That doesn't mean that that guy's opinion doesn't matter.
Still hasn't changed my opinion on it. Base Udita EX kick costing half meter and teleporting you behind the opponent full screen.
Dude,
not a great design decision. Super dash not consistently working and 360ing around the opponent. How big is KI actually?
I'm not really a huge fan of KI. I was playing it for a while and I did like it, but
sad. That's not counting Xbox. Do we know how many players?
It's crossplay.
Why can't
and
you
it's
play
free.
on Steam?
It's also free.
How many viewers does it have?
It's at least free on Xbox. That's why people are still playing it.
Double Third Strike? Sadly, it's also dead. It's not dead, And again, many of the
But just
games
because
that I
people aren't
picked
streaming
here
does not
that
mean
I
the game is dead.
honestly, you know, kind of want to be here. Like, if I had to pick a fighting game, I would probably play Under Night or Guilty Gear as my if I couldn't play Melee. But the fact of the matter is, I would have to work another job because these games are not big enough to sustain a career from.
But that doesn't mean they're bad
At
games.
least not a responsible one.
That does not mean they're bad
And
games.
so when you play these games and you're the
just
best,
because you can't be the best in the world competitively and make a living off it does not mean it's a bad game. If that's his standard for this, first of all, most of this list shouldn't even be on up here. He should just make a list for that, because like I don't know, I just have a problem with the dead and irrelevant tier. That's so ridiculous. Yatagrasu, great game.
Dead. That's why Machabo
Heavily flawed.
from
Heavily
Guilty Gear
flawed.
despite winning
Great game.
Evos to Street
Punch
Fighter.
Planet, fantastic game.
Stadium. I should make the exact list, but just swap
Hasn't
KI and Melee.
really officially
I
come
wanna
out.
try KI. I'm probably gonna
Great
try
game.
it at some point. Strive
Probably won't.
Strive's
Probably won't get half the near the numbers as most of the games here, but still a really really good game.
good. I think Strive is shooting itself in the foot repeatedly though. Strive is not coming out until next year, but every single trailer is terrible in my opinion. What do I mean by that?
All right. And then he just kind of talks about why he doesn't like Guilty Gear Strive. Tekken 8. I don't really give a shit about that. Anyway, yeah. He's got some really bad takes. That's the bottom line. Glad I got the chance to go over that. I was really like sitting there like this dude. Obviously, he does know quite a bit about fighting games, but he solely looks at the competitive aspect of any game and decides whether or not it's worth shit from that. And that's a bad way to go. That's a bad way to enjoy a game. Like he couldn't enjoy Tekken first before he decided whether or not the game was worth shit. That's bad. That's bad. That's a real bad. He should have played it and then went over how he felt about it, but he did not. That's a real shame, it's a real shame. Anyway, let's move on to this game I want to play. Finally.